This thing has straight put me through the ringer. This thing has been a nightmare. My GTO is way easier to work on than this thing. My GTO, I could have had the motor out 3 times and rebuilt it 3 times by the time I've got all this done.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Tape my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
As you guys can see, struggled a little bit to get the intake off, but what I struggled with is some of these wires, like the sheathing on it, is like crispy. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but it's like crispy, and yeah. So I'm gonna keep tearing into this thing, and we're getting places. I got the coolant draining right now, so we're on our way. We're making progress, and yeah, here soon I'll probably have these heads off. This thing is really kicking my butt, and I guess, you know, with everything on the top of the motor, I never realized that this motor had the cam sensor in the front. So I'm hoping that cam will still work. And yeah, I got a front cover for the wrong engine because, yeah, I didn't know this had a cam sensor in the front. I thought this was just like my GTO's LS2 with the cam sensor in the back, but I am completely wrong on that. And the radiator kicked my butt. I've been fighting that radiator for like a half hour now, but I finally got the radiator out, got the power steering pump on it. Now my next task is to figure out what to do with my rack because it's in the way of my dampener. So with my rack here, I won't be able to get my dampener out. So I gotta figure out what I kind of gotta do to do that and get that out of the way. But yeah, the power steering pump's out of the way. Yeah, I don't know how to get the fan wires out, so I kind of just have it hanging to the side like that. But yeah, heads are pretty much ready to come out. It's just I was gonna get all this other stuff out of the way before I took the heads off. But yeah, I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do about that rack. I don't know if I can unbolt it and move it around a little bit or whatnot, but it'd be really cool if I could get the balancer off today and then the heads off as well. I still have to find a spring compressor to put the springs in it, but I think someone in town might have one that might borrow one. If not, I might have to go jimmy rig a wrench, drill a hole in a wrench and do it that way. But it is what it is. We'll figure it out one way or another, but we'll keep going on this and plugging away. It is officially, my hair's a mess. It is officially day 2 in the garage working on the Corvette. So I was in for a rude awakening. This thing is not like my GTO at all. This thing is a big pain in the butt. Now, where I'm at right now is I'm trying to get the balancer off. So my first issue is I bought a balancer puller a long time ago, a couple years ago maybe, and I always keep my tools that come in like the boxes, the good plastic hard cases, you know, I always keep them in them. And I have it somewheres in the garage here, but I literally tore the whole garage apart and I can't find it. So I went on Amazon last night and I ordered one. It'll be here today, along with a brand new front cover for the engine because I ordered the wrong one. I should have known better that these are 58X engines and the cam sensor is in the front cover. Well, I ordered the wrong front cover, which is fine because if anything happens, I can use it on the S10, but I can't use it on the Vette. So I ordered a new front cover as well. So yeah, I'm waiting on some parts to show up today. They'll be here today. But also I had to get a cam gear. Forgot about that I didn't know this was gonna have a 1-bolt cam in it. That was my fault, like I said. But yeah, it's got a 1-bolt cam in it, and yeah. So I got to wait for those to come in today. But to do this balancer bolt, I've ended up having to completely take almost the whole front cradle out of this thing. I took the shocks, the top A-arms off, and unbolted the cradle and everything and dropped it down. I dropped it like 7 inches in the front, and I still don't have enough clearance. So I might end up undoing the motor mounts from the bottom and jacking the engine up to get it a little bit higher. But this thing is filthy. I washed my hands like 10 times last night and I can't get it off. And if you guys can see how greasy this thing is. So essentially is old owner or the owner before that one had a power steering hose leak. They fixed it and they fixed it poorly. And I guess I got the hose right here. So this hose right here, and it's just fixed poorly, and it leaked. So it would leak power steering fluid everywhere. So that being said, I went to my shop and tea. I grabbed the power washer. It is 40 degrees outside. The car is in my garage, but I am going to power wash this engine bay out. And there's only one thing you can use when fighting grease and grime, and that is Super Clean. So I've been a big partner with Super Clean for a really long time. Their stuff is crazy. They got this in the spray can. They got this stuff in like the plastic squirt bottles, and the stuff works awesome. They're also their floor dry. I love their floor dry. I use their floor dry to clean all the mess up underneath the S10 this winter. And yeah, so I have a link in my description. You can go click on that link to get your Super Clean products whenever you want to. But I got this taped up. I got the valve covers back on it. I mean, I don't think water inside the engine bay would really hurt it, or because I'm going to take the heads off anyways, and I'm changing the oil anyways. I don't think it would hurt it, but it's like one of those things, if I don't have to get water into the engine, I won't. So I'm going to get this thing all ready. I'm going to get some gas in the power washer, and I'm not going to film it. I'm just going to clean it, and then yeah, I'm going to spray it down with a Super Clean degreaser, and we will get this thing looking brand new and a little bit easier and cleaner to work on. So yeah, I actually got to plug the battery back in, hope the alarm don't go off, and roll the windows up on the Vette. So well, I'll get doing that, and I will show you guys the aftermath. You can finally tell that this stuff works amazing. That Super Clean stuff is pure amazing, because look at this. It pretty much cleaned everything. And my power washer, I must have not drained all the water out of it, and it froze and cracked the pressure side housing. So it's like pretty much coming out of the pressure washer before it was getting into the hose to go to that. So I was like down on pressure. That thing would just a little more than a garden hose spraying out. And as you can tell, this thing is 1,000 times cleaner. I mean, there are some super hard spots, that would take hot water and more pressure than what I had. But other than that, this engine bay is way cleaner. And then like I did the radiator as well, and then I did the alternator bracket. That thing's pretty freaking clean. So yeah, this Super Clean stuff right here, it works amazing. Click the link in my description below. Go tell them Mr. Eazy sent you, and they'll treat you right. Those guys over there are awesome people, and I appreciate them always helping me out on my stuff, and always making sure my stuff is degreased and cleaned and my oil spills are dried up. But I made a mess in the garage. The garage floor is completely soaked, so it's gonna be like 75 degrees out. So I'm gonna go inside. I'm actually gonna catch a shower and then let the garage floor dry up a little bit. Hopefully by that time I got my parts in the mail, they show up, and then I can continue on tearing this thing down. My next steps are probably going to be pulling the heads off of it, and then when that puller comes in, I'm going to go grab that and pull the pulley off, pull the front cover off, and then start putting the cam and lifters and everything back in it. So it's going to come together real soon. I just got to wait for a couple parts to come in. Everything's cleaned out. I got some fans blowing the garage floor dry, but I think it's time for me to pull the heads. So I'm gonna set you guys up. I'm gonna take valve covers off, and I'm gonna pull the heads off. I know there's some water still in the block, so my garage floor that I just power washed out and is a little bit cleaner than what it used to be is gonna have coolant on it again, but it is what it is. No biggie. I'll just do it again later in the spring here. But yeah, I'll set you guys up, and I will get to pulling these heads off. I'm hoping the headers don't give me much of a trouble. I think they're gonna be in the way of a couple of those bottom bolts, but I should be able to wiggle them out and get them out safely.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one. Only one. I first time of today. Today. To dream, believe. You are the strength, you're all I need. Oh, gonna give it a shot. Only one of me to shield you all from the enemy. You're a superhero. You're a superhero.
I don't know up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
As you guys can see, the heads are all off the car. This driver's side header, it's a pain in the butt. Like, you can't move it at all because the steering shaft's in the way. So I'm really happy that I went with an ARP head bolt instead of the stud, because if I went with a stud, I would probably never be able to get the head on with the header in there. But everything looked good. I pulled those lifters out, and for having 150,000 miles on this body and a motor, they look brand new. So I probably didn't need to replace them, but I am replacing them anyways. As you guys seen in the beginning of this video, I put them in some oil. They're still soaking today. But yeah, the heads are off. They are a little bit dirty. I'm probably going to have to power wash them, and I will bring my Super Clean with me when I go to lunch with the boys today, and I'll wash them. I think I might stop somewhere and grab some green Scotch-Brite pads or whatever, so I can just clean up the head surface and get everything look good. But pistons look good, and like, I'm looking down in there looking at the camshaft. The camshaft looks good. Doesn't matter because I'm pulling the camshaft anyways, but yeah, everything's looking really, really good. It's torn apart. Now next step will be pulling that balancer off, and like I said, I just gotta wait until I get the balancer removal tool. So yeah, I think I'm actually going to undo the motor mounts off the cradle, and I'm gonna jack the motor up a little bit to give me a little more room, because when I do put this thing all back together with the new balancer, I will have to pin the crank, and I'll just make it, if it's a little easier to get into there, I can pin the crank a little bit easier. And everything you want to do is make it easy. You know, last thing you want to do is have that drill bit going into the crank sideways or something like that and ruin the crank. So yeah, I'm just waiting on that puller, and I think my parts actually showed up at the front door from Speedway that I ordered, that are my cover and some stuff like that. So I think that stuff is here, and yeah, we're getting close. I'm gonna head to lunch, go eat lunch with the boys, and then when I come back, I'll probably start cleaning this up, and we'll get the camshaft removed and the balancer removed, and then this thing will start going back together. This Corvette is kicking my butt. I wish I would have known how difficult this was, because my GTO, I could have had the engine out, rebuilt twice, and put back in there and running and driving in the time frame that I've spent on this thing. But I got the heads out. I went to the car wash, washed my 1500 Chevy, and then I sprayed these down with some of that super clean stuff, and it got them pretty freaking clean. So yeah, right now I'm waiting on my valve spring tool to come. I ordered one last night, valve spring tool, and that pulley puller. So I'm still waiting on that. I got my other parts from Speedway in. So currently right now I just got these little Scotch-Brite pads with a handle, and I'm not going to use this gray pad. I'm going to use this green pad. This green pad's a little bit of a softer pad. I don't want to like damage the surface. I just want to take all the little gasket stuff off of it. So I might spray just a little bit of WD-40 on it, and I might just softly rub all this junk off of it, and then I will do the same on the block. But I think this video is going to be a little bit longer of a video, so I'm not going to time-lapse this. I'm just going to do this all off camera. When I get it all done, I'll let you guys know on how that looks. And like I said, it should be ready to go. Like, I'm just waiting on the balancer puller, and yeah, as soon as I can get this balancer off this car and put the cam in it, I can be putting this thing back together. Now, like I said, I hope it's done and running by Sunday. I don't believe I'll have the Procharger on and done by then, but I should have it running like together enough that I can start it and move it out in the driveway. So that's the goal, and hopefully we can have that happen. I've been making some headway, guys. I haven't been filming it. London had swim lessons today, so I took her to swim lessons. We did all that, come back, ate. And of course, she has to take a bath after swim lessons, wash all the chlorine off. And we laid down, and she went to sleep. So I come back out to the garage. And I started this before London got out of school. And I got it done. So I got the new dual beehive springs. I replaced them all with titanium retainers and all the good fancy stuff for this. Then I have a box, one of several, of parts for like the S10 builds I did. And I ended up going through one, and I had this motor that my buddy Nick built for me years ago. It was actually, I believe it was the first engine in the S10. And as a joke, he painted it pink on me. No, that was the backup motor. So this would have been the first motor, and the pink one would have been the second one he built for me. The first one we called Old Faithful because I sent the pink one to him, built it, and we ended up bending rods, 7 of the 8 rods on the dyno with the new turbo. And that engine he's painted pink for me as a joke. And so when we built that motor on stock internals, so you know, 1,000 horsepower, bends rods pretty easily, but he built the pink one for me. So I took the original engine out of the S10, which is still the engine that he built, and it was in the truck for 3 years. And I remember I put brand new timing set on it right before I took the motor out of the truck. So I was digging through my box of parts, and I ended up grabbing the old timing set out of that engine that was pretty much new when I took it out. When I put the old motor back in and bent the rods in that one, I took that out. You know, when I took it out, I was like, I'm gonna keep the good parts out of it. So I knew the timing set was pretty much new, so I pulled that out, and luckily it's the same chain, which it's now less. I wouldn't think they'd be different lengths, so it's the same chain. So I didn't buy a new timing chain for the Corvette, and luckily I didn't, because I have one laying right here. So I'm gonna reuse that one. Like I said, I got all the springs and retainers and new valve seals in the heads. I got the heads cleaned up thanks to Super Clean degreaser. I degreased all these up, got them all really super clean. Get it? Super clean. And then I come over here and I had to wait for a balancer puller to show up. I ordered one on Amazon. Well, Brooke did. And I know I have one because she looked on her Amazon, and we purchased one, and it's in a bright lime green box, and I don't know where the heck it went. I tore the whole garage apart trying to find that thing, so couldn't find it yesterday, so she ended up buying me a new one. And with all that said and done, I cleaned up the head surface really well. I mean, it's got some shows of stuff, but it's not going to be a thing. And then I got the balancer off and the front cover off, and the oil pump off. So right now, I am at the point I'm gonna pull this cam out. This motor does have 150,000 miles on it, so it's like one of those things. If you don't look at the cam bearings, you don't need to replace them. And I'm just hoping I don't have to look at them when I pull this cam out. And one's on the cam, so I'm gonna break this cam plate out and I'm gonna pull this cam out, and I pray I don't see any cam bearings. So that's where we're at now, and Nathan will be over here tomorrow, and we will be putting the engine back together to get this thing to run. The driver's side header is gonna be a pain to put the head on, but I figure if I can have this thing running by the end of the weekend, that is a win. And then Stuart and I will have to determine a weekend on how we are going to Procharge this. But when I get it running and put the new balancer on it, I will drill and pin the balancer. So that will all be done. So literally it's just bolting the Procharger on and we're good. And I'm not gonna put the injectors in it until we get to Jeremy's shop where he's gonna dyno it, and then I'll pop the injectors in that. So this should still run and move. Might not be the best running vehicle, but it will be driving hopefully out of this driveway this weekend. So, and it's gonna sound rowdy. So I'm gonna get to pulling this cam out, and I guess if you guys don't see a clip after this, that means I didn't have no cam bearings come out with it. So yeah, I'm gonna get to pulling this out. I'm gonna lube up the other shaft, and I'm gonna ram the other shaft in there, get everything timed up, and put this back together. Day number 3, I got bedhead. It is what it is. But everything seems to be going together really nice now. So the new balancer, it's got a keyway in it, and I am going to drill and pin the crank, but I don't know if my pin will be like that diameter. So what they say is you just take some gasket maker silicone and you just fill that keyway hole in. But also, I already did the cam. So I did put the cam in it, and like I said, I had this timing chain from an old motor of mine that's pretty much brand new. And then it had this weird tensioner, which I'm not really familiar with these guys, but this tensioner and this little plastic thing down here was broke. I assumed that it would have a guide that goes all the way up here, but it was broke, and it was already touching the metal in there, you can see. So essentially my GTO had this little H thing in the middle of the chain there, so finding that was almost impossible, but I found one in town, went and picked it up. It was $60 on a $20 part. It is what it is, but I got it. And now I also got the oil pump on it. And yeah, so that's that little H thing I was telling you about. I got that all in there. Helped the chain out a little bit. And yeah, it's all timed up, ready to go. And I'm putting the oil pump in it. I gotta put the bolt in the oil pump. I got a new O-ring on the oil pump. I got a lot of things. So the front of this thing is coming together. Nathan's coming over today, and I think we're gonna have the heads on it and everything on it today. The front cover on it. I'm gonna have the crank drilled, I hope. And yeah, we're gonna start kicking butt and getting going on this thing. So it's coming together real good. The cam came out really nice. The cam went in really nice. So I got no complaints there, you know, for 150,000 mile motor. Sometimes when you pull the cams out, the cam bearings come with them. And luckily that didn't happen. The bearings, I didn't even look at them. I just shoved the other cam in it real quick with some engine lube on it. And yeah, we're ready to bolt this oil pump all on and start putting the front cover on it. day number 4 in the garage, and as you guys could tell by that last clip, Nathan and I got this thing running. So yeah, it's all pretty much put together for an engine to run. We don't have the Procharger on it yet, the radiator's not in it yet, all sorts of stuff like that, but it did start and it did run. So we're making good progress on that. Stuart is actually on his way over right now, and we're gonna try tackling this Procharger kit out. So it's kind of gonna kick us in the butt a little bit because I bought it used and it was pretty much just like a box full of parts. I don't even know if all the stuff I need is there or not. So yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride. I'm gonna hurry up and bolt up the fuel pump right now. Another thing that kind of really sucks that happened to me is I broke a sensor, and it's in a really hard place to get to. So I ended up breaking the temperature sensor, and if you guys know LS engines, you guys know they're right in there if this thing will focus up. But yeah, it's right, well, I'll show you. It's right here. And it is almost impossible to get to because this header right here, it's almost like I needed to cut some of this edge off to get to it because I can't get a socket in there and do that stuff. Also, I don't know if like the old owner had like the hood off for a time, but like these wires, they're like all tight and like the sheathing on it is like hard and it don't bend very well. So, you know, when you move everything around and all that stuff like that, they tend to crack and stuff. And I ended up breaking a couple clips onto the injectors. So the first start, actually not in this video, but I'll post it. It was kind of like misfiring is because a couple of those injectors weren't clicked in there to get it to run. So it is what it is on that part. But yeah, I'm gonna start putting the water pump on this thing. I might actually pull the alternator back off because now that I just looked at it, I think I can maybe get to the temperature sensor if I would take the alternator off. So that whole alternator power steering bracket assembly is just a pain. And you guys probably can't see it, but like this bolt right here, and then there's like a bolt back down in here, and you can't get to those because this pulley's in the way. So it makes it a real big pain in the butt. So literally you like have to put this into the alternator bracket before you start to put the bracket actually on the motor. And yeah, that took us a little bit of time too. But like I said, the car does run, it does start, it does fire. So now we just literally got to take this Procharger and bolt it on and figure out some of the alignment issues with the belts and stuff like that, and that should be ready to go as well. I know I might need to do some massaging onto the radiator as well with a hammer. So yeah, got a couple things, but Stuart's on his way over. We're gonna try tackling this out because tomorrow this thing has to be out of the garage no matter what. So right now I could put the front tires on it and I could drive it out at least. It don't have no coolant in it and stuff, but I could just still move it outside. So yeah, when in doubt, I'm just gonna shove the hood on it, but I think we're gonna get the supercharger pretty much bolted up. I got instructions from ECS about their kit, but you know, when you get a box full of parts, there are going to be things missing like nuts and bolts and all that stuff like that. So we're just gonna wing it. We're gonna try following the instructions and hopefully everything goes good from there. This thing has kind of been whooping my butt, but yeah, the Procharger is now on and installed. Pretty much all we really have to do now is like some of the coolant lines and figure out exactly how these are gonna go with this Procharger here, you know, because you know it's not supposed to be here. So these little coolant lines that are right here are kind of in the way, and the radiator is now in it, but it's one of those things like it has to be dropped down farther. And I do have some brackets over there for that. It just, I have to read the instructions a little bit better. But yeah, and also another thing that probably we need to do, this belt is like extremely tight. So I think what we need to do is get the next size longer belt for this thing. So yeah, I got a couple things we got to do. Stuart had to go today. He was here and helped me with all this stuff. So he ended up having to go because he has to get ready for a date night tonight with Amy. So yeah, we're pretty freaking close to having this done, but not done. But I think tomorrow we'll have it pretty much wrapped up. He's going to come back over for a little bit and help me out with that. But yeah, I'll give it a quick start. It's not as loud as I thought it was going to be, but that's not a real big issue either, you know, if it's not super loud. But it'd be cool if it did like the loud Procharger whine, and who knows, it might need to break in the oil or whatever, because I did put brand new oil in it. So yeah, it's just a couple things here. And now that I'm looking here, I think I'm gonna route these wires these lines a little bit different than how I have them. Yeah, because it's pretty tight here. Like, this Corvette is really giving me the work. So yeah, it is what it is. Tomorrow it'll be back on the ground, hopefully have the intercooler in it. And yeah, I need to top off the power steering fluid, put some coolant in this thing. But yeah, we're getting freaking close. Really freaking close. But yeah, it's just gonna take one more afternoon, I think, and then we'll be ready to tune it. And we got a couple other things to do. We got to put some injector clips on this and stuff. So yeah, it's there, but it's not there. But we're getting there. So stay tuned. Tomorrow will be another day in the garage, and we'll be hopefully finishing this project up. This thing has straight put me through the ringer. This thing has been a nightmare. My GTO is way easier to work on than this thing. My GTO, I could have had the motor out 3 times and rebuilt it 3 times by the time I've got all this done. So everything is hooked up, intercooler's hooked up, everything's hooked up besides injectors, flex fuel kit, and then the fuel pump, which I'm waiting on all those besides the injectors. So yeah, I got some coolant going into it right now. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I've been working since midnight yesterday, so it's been a 24-hour day almost for me. But yeah, Stuart come over and help me bang out the rest of this kit. So our biggest issue was, I guess, you know, I bought this kit used in a box full of bolts. So we didn't really know what went to what. So I did take the head unit off to put the bracket on and everything. And then we're like, oh, this bolt goes in here. So then we're like
took the head unit back off, put it back on, and then we're like, oh, this bolt goes here. This one back here in this corner over here. So we had to take the head unit back off again, put that one in. Well, then we're getting everything situated again, and I go, hey, there's 2 holes down here, and you guys can't really see them, but there's 1 and 2 down here, which are factory balancers on the water pump. So yeah, we had to take the head unit back off, put those water pump bolts into there, and it was just a nightmare. Well, then on the bottom side of this, we had to do some trimming and all that stuff, and my radiator bracket, which you guys can't really see, it's up in here. It's like a cage for the radiator on a Corvette. If you guys have a Corvette, you know what I'm talking about. But it has an ear broke off of it. And then we had these little spacers right here that drop that cage like an inch. And we didn't know how those went about. So then we ended up having to kind of figure that out. Then these tabs work after you put the cage on, but before it wouldn't work. I do have to put bolts into the bottom of the intercooler, which I have one right here. It's just that I need a washer, like a half, maybe like an 1.5 to 2-inch washer for this type of bolt. So I need to grab one more bolt, 2 washers for that. And then these, you plumb the blow-off valve, which is just down there, into the brake line. And the kit does come with the T if you buy the kit brand new. But since this is a used kit, of course I didn't have it. So I had to go to our local hydraulics store, and they actually made me this T, which it's not pretty, but it gets the job done. And you just splice that into the brake line. The brake line does have a check valve, so no boost can get into the brake master cylinder. And yeah, I do have the cover for this little area here, and then I do have the air filter for it as well that will go on. Tomorrow I'm gonna finish wrapping this up via the engine type stuff. Like I said, I'm waiting on the flex kit and the 525 pump drop-in kit with the hot wire. I'm waiting on that. So I'm gonna get this all burped out for coolant tomorrow, and then I'm gonna give it a fresh oil change. Since this oil has however many miles on it, I bought it with this oil in it. So we're gonna give it an oil change, and hopefully everything else goes good for that. I'm gonna pull this out of the garage and give Brooke her spot back. And yeah, so stay tuned for the next couple clips because we'll be starting it and running it for you. This thing sounds so mean. I can't wait for Jeremy and Intelligent Performance to get this thing tuned and wrapped up. So we're just waiting on those fuel system stuff, and then I can struggle doing that in another video. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the sound clips because this thing sounds amazing. And yeah, had a couple good people helping me out on this. The car did 416 horsepower in a stock. So I'm hoping with that blower we could probably do 550, 600. Now being on stock fuel lines, because I'm going to still run stock fuel lines, that's going to be kind of 600 is kind of be the tipping point of that fuel system. So it is what it is. This is a cruiser. I just want the noises and really good drivability with some power. So 550, 600 would be plenty for this thing. Force Technology, they specialize in the multi-gauge gauges. So you take your single pillar pod gauge, and they hook them up to your OBD2 scanner, and then you could look at all the things your OBD2 does. So that's really cool. And the cool thing about this gauge for this car is when I do the flex fuel kit,
I tap one of those wires from the alcohol sensor into the factory computer. And then after that, that Aeroforce gauge will read the ethanol content in the car. So essentially, I'm buying one gauge and I'm getting multi-gauges in that single gauge. So I don't have to have a big pillar pod. The Corvettes, they have the gauges, the buttons on the side of the gauge pod in the middle. And it just has a little gauge over there. So I'm going to have that there. And I'll have me tell my boost, my alcohol percentage, my air fuel. It'll do all that. So you guys can go check out their gauges. I'll have a link in the description below. This thing is almost done and finished, and I can't wait to have it on the rollers. London is ecstatic. She loves it. She loves the way it sounds. So yeah, I'll put some sound clips in here for you guys, and maybe have you guys look at it when I'm pulling it out of the garage. So we are expecting some weather tomorrow night. So it is one thing or another, but it's probably going to sit out in the snow for a couple days, which it is what it is. It's not going to rust. It's all fiberglass. So yeah, this thing is coming together, and yeah, been a headache. Like I said, pretty much next time I do any of this, I'm going to pull the motor out of the car. And if also you have a company that does stuff, performance stuff for the Corvettes, let me know if you want to jump on this build, because I am needing some parts. I'm going to need a clutch, like a stage 2 clutch, like a 700 foot-pound of torque clutch. And this is a base model car, so maybe a company out there that does carbon fiber wide body kits, we can do some carbon fiber stuff on this thing. Yeah, so if you guys have a company that does Corvette stuff or a big wang, I've been thinking about putting a big wang on this car. So if you guys think I should put a big wang on it, comment below yes wing, and maybe I'll put a big old giant stacker wing on this thing, chassis mounted drift type thing. And yeah, also if you have a company that does drift stuff for these, I'll take a hydraulic hand e-brake. I could use one of those. But yeah, this video is probably going to be a long video, so hope you guys are staying to the end. Make sure you hit MrEazyS10.com to get your merch, stickers, key tags, all the good stuff, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
I could walk 1,000 miles to see you smile. I won't, so take your bet off of me. I'm gonna take my vows tonight. Sometimes I wish I had left to get you off my back. Bad luck, then if we do, then if we don't, so why don't you kiss me inside of love?